Hello and welcome. This is going to be a walkthrough video where I introduce to you one of my favorite programs that I wind up using basically every day. I'm going to try not to turn this into a 3-hour video because I could just go on and on about all the ways that you could use this. And one of the benefits is how flexible it is, all the different ways that you could use it. Also, one of the challenges is all the ways that you could use it because it's a little overwhelming because you just drop into it and you go, okay, now what? So I wanted to walk you through some ways to think about it, to understand what it is, and all that kind of stuff. So to that end, let's go into a screen share where you can actually see what it is that I am talking about. And we are going to be talking about this app. There we go. It is called Obsidian, and I don't make any money off of this. I'm not an affiliate. If I could be, I would be because I love this thing. But it's free to use. So there you go. Difficult to make money off free. This program is what I think of as my external brain. I put everything that I want to know, think, remember, I put it all into Obsidian, and Obsidian keeps track of everything so that I don't have to. It's not a customer relationship management software. It's not specific to any industry or need. At its most simple, this is just an interface for files on your own computer. And that doesn't really mean a lot unless you understand it means everything. To me, it means a lot because I like having my own files on my own computer so that if the internet happens to go down, I don't have to wait on somebody else's servers to come back up online. It also means that it works faster because it's working with information that's on my own computer. It also means that I'm not having to pay somebody else to rent back my own information. It means that nobody else at this company is looking at my notes and details and stealing my grand idea for a Netflix special, right? This all means that it's happening on my own computer in my own way, and I really, really like that. Well, what it's doing is working with Markdown files. So it's pretty lightweight. It's not some proprietary file system that you could only open with Obsidian. Since it's Markdown, any text editor will work for editing any of these files that you wind up creating. So if in the future you want to use some other system, you can. If you want to write in here and then export to HTML or use it to copy then paste into your WordPress blog, you can do that. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening behind the scenes under the hood that you may or may not care about, but to me made a big difference. If you don't know what Markdown is, learn it. It will be extraordinarily useful to you, and I can't even imagine not using it. All right, so that's part of the lead in. Enough introduction. Let me just kind of show you what we're looking at. So to this end, you should see my big green obnoxious cursor here. The real value of Obsidian is that you can make a file, make a second file, and then link those two together. Very simple, but it's one of the most powerful uses of technology that is possible. So here we go. This is a fresh install of Obsidian that there we go. Let me rearrange my folders here, my drive. Yeah, all right. So the hyperlink is the way that these link together, and it's really cool. So this is a blank install. I don't have any plugins attached to it. There's no theme. This is just straight out the box what you would see. And you create a vault, And the vault is just the fancy name for what folder do you want everything that you create inside of Obsidian, where do you want it to live? So here we go. Create new file. Let's just click on that and voila, we just created a file. In the upper left-hand corner here, you can see untitled. So we'll just call this Note 1 for now. Okay, cool. Here is some text and some great ideas. Super. All right. You can make daily notes. You can make notes to yourself, whatever. Anything can go in here. Really cool. Now, here is where it gets even more interesting, which is you can keep track of your information with hashtags. So you could say daily note or to do or remind me, right? So all these hashtags work a lot like Twitter. Twitter is my favorite social media platform, and using hashtags really makes sense to me. Okay, cool. So now let's close out that note, and then let's create a new file. And we'll call this Note 2. All right, neat. This is something completely different, but it might have something to do with note number 1. So now, in this note, we want to reference this other note, right? This other file is relevant to this note. So it's super cool, super easy. Hit 2 brackets, left bracket, and then there can be a drop down option here, or you can just type in the title, and we'll say note number 1, and hit 1, and voila. Now there's a link between note number 2 and note number 1. And now you can navigate between them. You can just click note number 1 and it drops you in to note number 1. So that's it. At its most simple, that's what this whole thing is. There are a lot of plugins that can make it do a lot more with that functionality, but those 2 things, hashtags and links to other notes, is at the root of what makes this so incredible. Because let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's expand the side here. So everything is just dropping into my base folder. So here, let's add a new folder and call it catch-all. All right. So now we can say, we can do new notes in here, new folders, or set it as attachment folder. I can cover that in another video if you're interested in it. But basically, you could go to your settings, there we go, and you can poke around all your files and all that kind of stuff. So here, default location for new notes. Well, let me do it in the folder specified below because I want it to be in catch-all. So I want that to be where every note that isn't organized, just go into my catch-all folder, and that way it'll keep it neat and tidy for me. So now, check this out. I'm going to hit Control-N for a new note. This is a new note. And now that new note is created, but it didn't show up here in the sidebar because now it's all going to show up inside this catch-all, right? Now let's look at my use case for Obsidian for managing my mentalism, learning and script writing and creating shows and all that kind of stuff. So here's what I do. I would go up here to new folder and say mentalism. So everything connected to mentalism should live in here. And what do I do under mentalism? Well, I've got some projects. I've got some of my favorite creators that I want to learn from. But you know what? Let's go learning. And what do I do when I learn? Well, I've got creators that I appreciate and some of their training materials. Okay, maybe it's books, video series, who knows, who cares. All right. But here's where it's really neat. Say under creators, we add a new thing and say it's Houdini. You could do a bio. Houdini was the best magician to ever magish. To steal a tagline from Dan. Love you, Dan. All right, so this is Houdini's profile, and it is under catch-all. So instead, I want it to live under creators, and now Houdini lives in my creators just to keep my file system tidy. And now training, let's do a new note under training. So now that's the way that you could create a new file without having it go in catch-all. Anyway, let's say straight jacket escape. Here's how to escape from a straight jacket. Voila. But I want to make sure that the straight jacket escape and Houdini are tied together. So then I could say teacher is Houdini. Houdini, right? There we go. So now this effect ties to Houdini, and I can link back to the straitjacket escape from Houdini. Now, I know some of you are going to think, why do I have to do it both ways? Why doesn't it do it for me? Well, I like that it's at your discretion of which way you want to link things together. But check this out. Even if we didn't directly manually link Houdini and straitjacket escape together, check this out. Over here, you could expand and show linked mentions. What other files in this vault link to Houdini? Well, it turns out that the straitjacket escape links to Houdini. So it does, in a way, automatically keep track of how many times this file is linked to, and you can find that over here in linked mentions. Or in unlinked mentions, check this out. So I'm going to hit Control N to create a new file, and then say history project. So that just goes into my catch-all because I'm not sorting it yet, anything. I'm just showing you that if I were to type in Houdini is awesome, right? No backlinks found, no unlinked mentions found because history project is there. But if we go to Houdini, you can see that linked mentions still includes straitjacket escape, and unlinked mentions recognizes the file name Houdini being mentioned somewhere else in your database. So if you're in the moment and you're just writing, and you don't want to slow down to create these intentional links, still cool. You'll find that you'll aggregate a whole bunch of unlinked mentions and it'll still work. Then later, if you wanted to, you could come back in, turn that into a link. And I would delete this text there, and now you've got a link to that one, right? And then I would say things I've learned from him. So this is where I would create an ordered list or whatever and say he did the straitjacket escape. Cool. What else? Hanging upside down. Enter. All right, so now you can see that it created a link, but it's not bright purple like this one. It's kind of dull. Well, that means that I'm linking to a file name that doesn't exist yet. And if I wanted to, I could click this link, boop, and now it creates that file ready for me to say, let's see, strap your leg to a crane and get dragged into the sky. Voila, hanging upside down is now there. And you can see it went to my catch-all, but I want it to live in training, so it's right there in that folder, right? So now if you go to Houdini, hanging upside down is connected to Houdini. That's neat, right? Like, pretty darn cool. But now, look at illusion, stage, TV promo, daring, danger, favorite, any kind of thing that this could be attached to, you could put down here, right? So you could call it tags and have that kind of at the footer. So now you can go to show more content, change order, sort, whatever, because you can search by the search term, or you could show more content, copy search results into wherever you want it to go. But if you go, you know what? Let me go back to my catch-all. Let's go to Houdini or wherever I am. I'm in Note 2. Who cares? All right. Now I'm wanting to create a new show or make something. And then I go, "Oh yeah, I've bought so many things, I've learned so many things, but it's been a while since I could get around to it." So maybe I start with my favorite items. All right, hashtag favorite. So now I know that hanging upside down is one of my favorites. Okay, cool. So what's that one all about? Oh, strap your leg to a crane and get dragged into the sky? That sounds awesome. Let's do it. So with the search of tags and the linking between where I learned it from, you start to see how you can see the ways that all of your information and things you want to remember are connected to each other. So in my case, if I'm a mentalist, I'm a magician, and I'm going, what was that routine? What book was it in? Who wrote it? I can't remember. Well, if I had made a note about it and then connected it to the author, well, now I can get at the right information and it's organized in the way that I think about it because I'm the one that created it. So, very, very quickly, without too much effort, you begin to make an entire interlinked database of information that completely makes sense to you because you're the one that built it the way that it needs to be built. So, you could just rely on having a single catch-all folder and every single file goes into that folder, and then rely on search to find what you're looking for. You could be fastidious about it and make a whole bunch of different folders and be really particularly organized, or you could just be an interlink rock star that also uses some hashtags in order to find all the different recommendations for a particular topic or category, right? So that's why I'm saying that, man, this is a rabbit hole that you could waste months on. But my best recommendation is to just try it, give it a whirl, keep track of your day to day ideas for a week, and then you'll know enough to know what you should do with it next. So the program is Obsidian, uses Markdown files that live on your own computer, which gives you a whole lot of freedom. There's a lot more behind this program. Plugins, extensions, theming, make it look the way that you want it to look, make it behave the way that you want it to behave. But just what I've shown you is enough to completely overhaul your life. And it's a tool that is simple enough but effective enough to do what you need it to do without it being too much in the way of changing how you want to think about your information and the things that you want to keep track of. So that's what, to me, makes it head and shoulders above Notion or Airtable or any of the other kinds of programs that a lot of people use for this kind of thing. Obsidian is just so elegant, so beautiful, so simple that, man, there had to be a lot of great thinking to make it be this useful and this easy. So that's it for now. That's the whole introduction that I wanted to do. And if you have more questions, if you give it a try for a week and then you've got questions, hit me up with those questions and I might make another walkthrough video for it, because I really, really do love this program this much, because it's my single source of my brain that lives outside of my brain, and I couldn't live without it now. So that's it. I'm Jonathan Pritchard, founder of Zavant Enterprises, and this has been, I don't know, a behind the scenes, I don't know what to call it, but it just had to be a video that I made to share how much I love Obsidian. So that's it. Thank you much, and I'll see you in the next video.